Okay, we are here on your navigation panel. The navigation panel that you have here is made up with AC and DC. So we'll start with the DC panel. The DC panel, you get power from your battery bank. So we'll start with the main breaker. The main breaker that you have here is your cabin light breaker. So you turn that on, cabin light comes on, and you have individual switches around to turn lights on and off. And to switch them, I'll label light switches. Fridge. The fridge that you have here is a 12 volt system. So during your trip, you turn it on, leave it on forever. It will work as the battery stay full. As the battery get low, it will shut itself off. Low mean 11.8, 11.9. There's another breaker here, or another switch that says solar cell. Turn it on, leave it on. What it does, it turns the solar on and it will charge your batteries up. Freshwater pump. The freshwater pump that you have on board is a self-priming pump. That's on, it's off. It's a self-priming pump. As you turn it on, leave it, it primes the system, it shut itself off. You don't need to use it, turn it off. Belch. The belch pump that you have on board have an automatic float switch with them. We're going to show you where the deepest part in a little bit of the hull, so you will see where your automatic switch is. This switch here, if it's in the middle, it means the automatic switch is on. If for some reason the automatic float switch is not working, you can manually override by turning the port on or the starboard on. So again, leave it in the middle. In the middle, it means that it turns both hull belch pump on. Navigation instrument. Your display is in the cockpit. Deck light, anchor light, steaming, or navigation light. Over here, it's a little dial will show you the voltage of your battery, how much water you have, how much fuel, and you can light the panel up. So if you look here, you can see the panel is light up. If I press this, the panel is off. So I'm going to turn it on. Battery. If I look here, I'm seeing my domestic battery is showing me 13.5 to the top, 12.5 to the bottom. What that means is that I'm getting a charge in my battery and it's showing me 30.4, which right now my solar is on and it's charging my battery. The battery bank that I have on board is 12.5 volt. I do get a lot of phone calls from people and say, well, my battery was charging at 13.4 and now my battery is showing me 12.5 volt. Because the batteries there are 12.5 volt. If they're getting a charge, they will show you 13 point something up to 14. And they're not getting a charge, they will show you 12.5 volt. Now if I press this one again, it will show me the voltage of my engine battery. If I press again, it will show me the voltage of the auxiliary battery. In this case, because this is a Catamaran Lagoon 38, it will show you the voltage of your starboard engine battery. So again, let's go back here. Domestic, engine battery, which is a port engine, and auxiliary here which tell you starboard engine. If I press to the top here, this is my water tank gauge. Tank 1 is full, tank 2 is full. Also you have two valves. We're going to show where the valve is to switch from one tank to the next tank. Try your best to use one tank at a time. So when one tank empty, you close the empty tank off, open the full tank. It means that once you switch to the last tank, you need to pull into a marina sometime soon to top off your water tank. Also here, this is going to show you how much fuel you have in tank 1 and tank 2. As you can see, they're both showing you almost like 3/4 full, but before you leave, we're going to fill them up. So that's it for the DC section of the panel. The AC side here. This part is very straightforward. That's only shore power. When you plug your boat into shore power, your battery charger is going to be on and you can turn your AC outlets. If you need hot water, you turn it on. You can also get hot water when you run your engine. So that's why this panel here is off. It is not plugged into shore power right now. But what's a good side for you to see that your auxiliary is showing you 13.3 from your solar because your batteries are 12.5 volt. If you need to get any of the AC outlet, you're going to have to get a small inverter from the office so that you can plug your phone up to charge them. Also here you have a fusion player, which is a Bluetooth. So this is your power button. Press power, it comes on. It's already on a radio station, an FM radio. You can press the arrow and you can select Bluetooth. Sorry. I select Bluetooth and you will load it with your device. So I'm going to go back to FM. Select FM. I'm going to press power here to turn it off. So, VHF. To VHF, to turn it on, you press the power button. It comes on. You wait a couple of seconds and it's going to beep. As you can hear, it's beeping right now. Let me turn the volume up so the beep will come up more. Once it beeps on you, you press the X button to clear it, to clear that page. I'm just bringing the volume up. Everyone wants on channel 16 and then they tell you which channel to switch to. Switching channel would be the button to the top here. Most people will tell you to switch to channel 68 or 71. You can go back to channel 16 by press 16 and then go back to channel 16. When you're not using it, you press the power button and that will turn it off. Press and hold. It's off. So that's it for your AC and DC panel here. Now we're going to move to the battery switches, the water changeover valve and the deepest part of your boat. Here we're in your port aft cabin. Behind these doors are your battery switch, fire extinguisher. Okay, here we at your battery switches. Your battery switches are located in your port aft cabin, like in front of the bed, just under of the bulkhead here. You have a black switch and two red ones. The black one is a negative or the common ground. The other red one is battery 1. In this case, battery 1 is your engine battery. Battery 2 is the service battery bank or the domestic battery bank. In this position where you're looking, they are on the on position. This position, they're off. Leave them on at all times. You don't have to mess with them. Also to the top here, you have a windlass breaker. If you're bringing your anchor chain up or down and it suddenly stops working, it means that you overload your windlass and the breaker trip. If you come here, you will see this little yellow lever here in the up position. To reset it, you bring it in the down position. Also, you have another one lower down, which is the electric winch breaker. The lever is in the down position, that means it's on. Trip, it's in the up position, that's trip. Or if for some reason the electric winch starts spinning on its own, you could come here and turn power off from it. Reset it, it's in the down position. Okay, here we're in the starboard aft cabin, just in front of the bed. You have some battery switches over here now. The battery switch that you see here, you have one black one and two red one. The black one is a negative of your starboard engine battery, and this red one here is the positive. That's all there is. It's positive and negative for your starboard engine battery. Again, you don't have to mess with them, leave them how it is. As you see, there's a third one. It's in the aft position. The third one is a coupler, a battery coupler switch. If for some reason your starboard engine will not start, or the port engine, you can come here, couple the batteries together, and you should be able to get your engine started. As your engine running, you come back here and turn it off. And that way you isolated back the engine battery from each other. That's all it's in here. It's very simple over here. Okay, here we're in your starboard cabin, starboard bilge. What you're looking at there, you're looking at the automatic float switch. So if any water comes into your boat, the automatic float switch would raise up. So I'm just going to go and lift it up a little bit here so you can see. That's how it works. If for some reason the float switch is not working, you can go on the panel and manually turn the switch on and manually override the float switch, and you can pump water out. Also, there's two valves here. They're in the on position. A lot of people ask me what they're for. This one is coming from your engine room. This one is coming from the bow of the boat. If for some reason the engine room have a salt water leak, water gonna come in here, you're gonna go into your belch, and that's you're gonna pump it out. If up front have a leak, water will come through here and go into the boat. So that's why these two valves should always be in the on position. Please do not turn them off. Leave them how it is. Okay, early on I told you about the fresh water tanks. On the panel I show you how much water you have in the tank, and I told you that you have two tanks. Also you have two valves, so you're going to be using one tank at a time. These are the two valves here. This one is in line, it means it's on. This one is across, that means it's off. Off. Right now I'm using this tank. When this tank empty on me, obviously air going to be coming through my faucet. Close it off, open the next one. Again, once you switch to the second tank, it means it's time to start think of where you're going to top off water again the next day. So I'm going to leave them one on, one off. Also here, these are your valves for your propane, stove and oven. In this position they're off, this position they're on. In line with the hose it's on, across it's off. So they're on. Also here you have two foot pump. They're labeled to the front, or the pedal, they're labeled in front which is which. This one is fresh water, this one is salt water. The way how it works, you press it while you're doing your dishes or you're filling up some water, that will bring water in. Again, this is fresh, this is salt water. Here we are on the stove. The stove that you have is propane. So we're gonna light the stove. Before you light your stove, you make sure the valve under the sink is in the on position. Also the propane tank have an on and off valve, make sure that's on. To light the stove, you light your match first. Push the burner knob down whichever one you want to light by pushing it down. Turn, keep holding it down. It's light right now. Hold the burner knob down for about 10 to 12 seconds. After 10 to 12 second release, so it will heat up the thermocouple and it will stay working. Finish cooking, turn it off. You can turn the valve off under the tank. Before you go to bed, you go to the propane tank and turn your propane tank off. Propane is very heavy and very dangerous. So we would like you guys to turn your propane tank off and turn the valve off on the propane tank at night. Also, we're gonna light your oven here now. First, you have to pull the tray out, which is the bottom tray here. That's if you're gonna be lighting it with a match. So you light the match first. Push the burner knob in, hold it. 10 to 12 seconds. Release. Put the tray back in. Close the lid and you cook. When you finish cooking, make sure you turn it off. It's off. Also, turn the valve off again and the sink. And at night before you go to bed, turn your propane tank off. Okay, here we're going to show you how to start and stop your engine, and also how the gauges work. Before you start your engine up, you want to make sure your gear shifter is in neutral. To know what's neutral, also I have an end here, or you can press this button in. Once this button can go in, that's neutral. Now we're going to start our engine by turning power on. Press power and start. Power and start. Engine started up. Before you do anything else, you need to check your exhaust for the raw water flow. Water should be coming through. After there too, it's like music to your ears. Okay, look here. I'm gonna push the button in to disengage the transmission so I can get my RPM up to 1500 RPM. As you see here, we have 1500 RPM max battery charging. Now if you bring it back to neutral, the button will pop out. Now if I put it in forward, my transmission will engage, and I need more RPM, I just push the lever more down. Also, if I was going forward and someone say back it up, please bring it to neutral, count 1, 2, 3, then you shift into reverse. If you need more RPM, then you bring it more down. To stop your engine, you press stop. Engine stop, and you press the power button and hold until the alarm goes away. Voila. Now we're going to start them up back and leave them running for a little bit, because I want to show you how to use the windlass with it. Ignition, start. Ignition, start. Also here you have your gauges, you have your chart plotter. It's a touch screen. Also you can use the dial to dial it in if the touch screen is acting up. And it's going to show exactly where your boat is, and that's around Tortola. It's going to show you the depth and speed. Whatever depth they show, you're going to add 2 feet to it, and that's your true depth, because your transducer is 2 feet below the water line. Here is your autopilot. It's on standby. If you move the wheel around, it will show you exactly where your rudder is. It's a rudder indicator to the bottom of the screen. To use auto, you press auto here, and it will lock your wheel into the heading that you have. If you want to put it back on standby, so you can steer manually. If you have it on auto and you want to minus 10 or 20 degree, or you can plus 10 or 20. If you have to do 22, you can add 1, 2 with it. If not, it's standby and you can steer manually. Also you have an electric winch here, and you have foot switches lower down. You have a slow and fast. That's your main halyard. So we're going to move to the bow of the boat. We're going to show you how to use your windlass. Here we have, on the bow of the boat, you have 2 lockers here. On the starboard side you have the winch, the windlass, and your secondary anchor. We're going to go into the port one just now. You also have a windlass remote. Whenever you're using the windlass, make sure your engine is running. Press down, it goes down. Press up, and it comes up. Whenever you're bringing your chain up, if you can put your boat slowly and forward, so the windlass is just picking the slack up of the chain. That the windlass is now working hard. Because the harder you work the windlass, they have a breaker that it will trip, and then you have to go back and forth to reset it. Also what you have here, you have 150 feet of chain and 50 feet of road on it. Your chain is marked every 25 feet with some yellow marking on it with a line through it. So with a boat like this, whenever you're anchoring, you should at least be in 20 feet of water, then you drop your anchor. So once the fourth yellow mark comes up, it means you're 100 feet of chain overboard. Also, you have a snubber. You can turn it slowly. You have a snubber here. You have a hook that will go on to your chain like this. Whenever you're hooking it on, make sure it's all the way over here. It means that your chain is through here, and you hook this on the chain and let it out. So this would work as a shock absorber for you. It means, can you bring it on here? It means it should hook on like this. Okay? Also when you bring the chain up and your anchor is already up, I have a line here with a quick release shackle to keep it in place. I'm gonna bring it all the way up. And it's up. The windlass remote lives inside the boat under the hatch.
Oh, fine.
You want to go
so where are we going now? This locker?
Yeah. to show them what they have in here.
Okay, I think I really need to be over there for that.
Well, we don't have to show them nothing here, just the emergency telehandler. No one ever used it anyway. Forget about that. What I'm filling cap is
Obvious.
if someone can't fucking read that, something wrong with him. Come up here. Let's go to the winches, the handle, and the line tape. I'm not gonna use the winch, I'm just gonna point out which is which. Because they're all labeled nicely here too. Main sheet, boom chopping left, main halyard, jib, reef 1, reef 2. And these are single reefs, so yeah. That's a nice sight. When last you see something like that?
Some tourists.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Would be so cool if we would tell SpongeBob, come and do a briefing with Cassie. And he would say, who me? Not me, you go with you. And then I say, you get your ass. It's so funny how me he is just like fight over nothing. I tell you not to go there. Remember when he had the problem chicks and boat?
Yeah.
We proper trouble over that. Even me and Zoe. Daddy, did you say chicks and boat?
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay, here is your engine. What we want to show you here is how to manually stop your engine, how to manually bring your RPM up, and also how to manually shift it into forward and reverse. So first we're going to start with stopping the engine. This is your air filter. Under the air filter there's a red rubber boot that you're going to push forward of the engine, and that will stop your engine. I'm going to remove the air filter so you can see it better. So it's more here. See the red rubber boot here? That's a fuel shut off, manual fuel shut off. Also, this is the throttle cable here. If for some reason your RPM is not going up, maybe your cable broken, you can bring your RPM up here. This is your gear shifter here. This is the cable for it. If for some reason it's not going in forward or reverse, you can come here and manually shift the handle here. This is the manual shifter. So again, this is your manual shifter. This is your fuel shut off, and this is the throttle. So now I'm going to push the fuel shut off and stop the engine. Nice. Okay guys, my name is Anthony. You're going to have my telephone number during the trip. So if you have any question or any problem with the boat, you could call me on 541-0336. It's only for business.
Thank you so much for watching. Anthony will be available when you get here to answer any further questions that you have. And if you have any questions while you're out on the water, he is available for you 24 hours a day in case of emergency. And his number again is 1-284-541-0336. Have a great trip.